You can look at today's Wings versus Bruins game in two different ways. On the one hand, hey, the Boston Bruins finally had a stinker of a game. It comes on Jeremy Swayman's birthday, and they absolutely crap the bed. Hey, it was inevitable, right? This team would eventually have one game where they don't absolutely dominate, or where they don't get challenged, or they barely squeak out a loss in extra time. And it just so happened to come on November 24th, 2023, over a month after the season began. Pretty good run, right? Now, you could view this game in that lens with all the positivity and say, okay, yeah, the Bruins just had a bad game, but you could also view this game the opposite way and say that the Detroit Red Wings are the kryptonite of the Boston Bruins. Book it in the first round, baby. Detroit is going to take on Boston. They are going to win, and because of these two games, and I say two games because the Red Wings, firstly, they handed Boston their first regulation loss of the season. And now today, the Red Wings win 5-2. It is Boston's second regulation loss on the year. Boston has only lost in regulation twice, and both games have been to Detroit. How crazy is that? Stevie Y, you're cooking up a batch of kryptonite here for the Boston Bruins, because for some reason, this team is just clicking. Now, there are a few things that we can talk about in this game. You could talk about the lines, you could talk about the distribution, you could talk about the inadequacies of Boston. Hey, Joe Veleno looked very strong on that line alongside of Dylan Larkin. Who knew that that was kind of the spark that this guy needed to become effective? DeBrincat's second line role, interesting to see him playing with Compher, but it's a pretty good pairing because DeBrincat and Compher, hey, I want to say that they actually looked really good together, and JT Compher is a lot better than people gave him credit for. You could also talk about the opposite side. Hey, Brad Marchand. What a dud from that guy. Charlie McAvoy, we talked about him in the last video, the Tom Willander comparison that was made by Craig Button. He had a few dud moments, I would say, especially on the penalty kill. That's been a point of contention, I guess you could say, from this team for a little bit now. And the Red Wings went out there and took full advantage of what it was that Boston gave them. But without further ado, let's talk about each of the goals that happened in this game, starting out with that JT Compher. Power play look. Interesting to see him on the first unit, and it's a good choice because he's able to provide significant value right off the draw. The Wings win the offensive zone draw, they cycle it around quite a bit. Eventually, Raymond goes over to Gostisbehere, who takes a long shot, and it's tipped in by Compher. 5 minutes is all it takes for the Wings to go up 1-0 on the NHL's President's Trophy leaders right now. Give it 10 more minutes, and whilst on the 5v5, the Wings have a pretty good turnover in the offensive zone. Pretty good steal there by DeBrincat. He comes in all alone on the goaltender, and he's able to pot it low left side. Very good steal, very good finish on Jeremy Swayman. Way to spoil the guy's birthday, for crying out loud. Alex DeBrincat, why you gotta go out there and do that, man? Why you gotta spoil the guy's fun? He's having a good time. He ends up getting beat on the breakaway. Beautiful goal by DeBrincat, 12th on the season, still one of the top goal-producing guys in the entire NHL. He's been slowly getting his groove back, along with some of these other Red Wings, so that's definitely a positive sign to see. The Bruins then strike back early in the second period with a power play goal of their own. They get themselves the control. They're cycling it around. Pastrnak goes into the middle. The pass goes right back to Pasta. He takes a shot. The rebound is out to the side, and it's Jake DeBrusk banging away at it, able to pot it in. Just a total workhorse kind of goal. One of these things where the guy definitely, if he was not trying as hard as he was, he definitely doesn't score that. So pure effort is able to get DeBrusk on the board to make the game 2-1. But it's all for naught, as 10 minutes later, it's Robby Fabbri who goes out there with his 4th on the season, assisted by Daniel Sprong and Alex DeBrincat. Really good movement by the Wings in the offensive zone on this one. It's technically not a power play because the guy that was in the box ends up leaving the box right before the puck goes in, but it's a power play, for crying out loud. The Wings go cross crease, and Fabbri is right there to put the biscuit in the back of the net. Beautiful goal, beautiful movement. 3-1 Red Wings heading into the third. And there was a little bit of a scare early on, not gonna lie. It's Danton Heinen 4 minutes in to the third period who is able to bring the Bees within 1. Former Richmond Sockeye, Danton Heinen, by the way. The puck gets played out to the left point, it's thrown on goal, and the rebound bounces out in front. It's a weird, fortuitous bounce for the Bees, and Danton Heinen is right there on the doorstep to put the puck in the back of the net. It looks like it rebounds off the end boards, actually. And then a pitch-perfect top corner shot for Heinen is what makes the game 3-2, brings it within 1. But just like a minute after that, the Red Wings, on the power play of their own, are able to extend the lead back to 2 goals. It's the captain, Dylan Larkin, assisted by, who we were talking about earlier? Yeah, it's JT Compher, who, instead of taking the shot, makes a brilliant cross-crease feed to Larkin, draws everybody, the goaltender and the defenders, all to him, opening up Larkin right there in the slot for the easy tap-in. What a great goal scored by Larkin. Great assist there by Compher to extend the lead. What a great showcase out of Detroit in this period. Opportunistic, using the power plays to their advantage, and just striking while the iron is hot. Saying, okay, you guys just got a goal. It's now a 1-goal game. That's fine. We've got 1 minute. That's all we need. We're going to make this a 2-goal game once again. We're not going to allow you the space to breathe, Boston. We're going to put a stranglehold on this game. And that is exactly what they did. Eventually, David Perron gets the empty netter. I'm not going to lie, I actually dropped David Perron earlier this week because the guy has been so unproductive. I ended up picking Trent Frederick up on free agency because that guy's been blocking a lot of pucks and doing really good things. But yeah, he didn't do anything today. David Perron gets a goal, so I guess I'm the fool going out here making these transactions. Don't listen to me if you want your fantasy hockey advice, people. But either way, the Detroit Red Wings walk out of this one with Boston's second regulation loss on hand. They have 1 and 2. The Bruins have not lost any other games in regulation so far. And as a Red Wings fan, there is this unique curiosity that's piquing everybody's interest at this moment, where it's like, yeah, the Wings were good enough to beat Boston twice in regulation, but you could even debate that this team may not even be at their peaks yet. Not with the prospects or the young guys or whatever, but just with the guys on the team. Like, they've gone through a little bit of a slump lately. They've started to string together some wins. They're going streaking right now. And 2 wins against Boston, you can't really go out there and even try to articulate how much of a confidence booster that's going to be. Especially heading into the next few games here, the lines have been mixed a little bit. They've been looking good. As we had said, Veleno's looking great, Compher's looking great, Larkin, of course, Raymond, these guys have been solid all around. You got Daniel Sprong getting a few opportunities in there in the top 6, which is interesting to see. And then the rest of the lineup, rounding everything out, hey, you're seeing some good productivity out of these guys. The defense, I'll say, Ben Sherratt looked terrible in Sweden, but he was pretty alright in this one. Ville Husso, brand new father. Yes, big congratulations over to Husso. He has the win in this one. Good on him for keeping the Wings in it. Maybe it's those dad powers that are going to really help steal that starting spot from Alex Lyon, because I feel like in the power rankings of Detroit goalies, you could debate that Lyon was number 1. But either way, the Detroit Red Wings, are they the kryptonite of the Boston Bruins this year? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And do you think it's inevitable that these 2 teams are going to meet in the playoffs and that Detroit is going to win 4-0 against the President's Trophy winners and Boston's going to get embarrassed like they did last year against Florida? Do you think it's all an inevitability? Do you think it's going to happen? Do you think the Red Wings are actually that good? How do you feel about the way things went in this game? Do you think the Wings have more to show? And what stood out to you? I'd say that for me, just the capability, the overall tenacity against a team like Boston. It's very intriguing to see the Red Wings stomp on really good teams and eventually end up losing to pretty bad ones. Not to say that the Sweden trip was like the worst thing in the world to happen, but hey, it kind of served as a wake-up call, didn't it? Like, they're playing so much better now ever since coming back from Sweden. Maybe it's the jet lag, maybe it's the travel, maybe it's the settling back down in the North American time zones, but hey, it feels great to dummy the Boston Bruins in Boston, doesn't it? So, Wings fans, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Wings versus the Bruins. 5-2 is the score here today, Friday, November 24th, the second regulation loss for the Boston Bruins. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.